All right, so when we talk about black liberation theology, we have to talk about Dr. James Hal Cone, Dr. James H. Cone, known as the father of black liberation theology. And we know he passed away in 2018. How many people are familiar with Dr. James H. Cone? Okay, and I probably first became familiar with him in about 1994 when I was in college at Wayne State University, undergrad at Wayne State, because I read his book, Martin Malcolm in America, A Dream or a Nightmare, which is one of the best books dealing with an analysis between Dr. King and Malcolm X. And if you actually understand the history of both of them, toward the end of both of their lives, their ideologies were converging. And actually, they wanted to work together because in January 1965, Malcolm goes to Selma, Alabama to meet with Dr. King, but Dr. King's in jail, and Malcolm meets with Coretta Scott King. Okay, so but they were both assassinated before they could meet up, before they could connect. They met only one time, March 26, 1964, at the U.S. Senate debate for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And if you read the reports of the meeting, they met for a couple of minutes, but Malcolm tells Dr. King, I'm pouring all of my effort into the heart of the Civil Rights Movement. Because this was later in the same month that Malcolm officially separated from the Nation of Islam, March 8, 1964. So when Malcolm leaves the Nation of Islam, he actually, even though he creates the Organization of Afro-American Unity, and we know he delivers that speech by any means necessary, June 28, 1964, announcing the formation of the Organization of Afro-American Unity and laying out their 5-plank platform. But Malcolm also joins the Civil Rights Movement after he leaves the Nation of Islam. And one of the themes of the Ballad of the Bullet, and he delivered a version of the Ballad of the Bullet at King Solomon Baptist Church here in Detroit, April 12, 1964. One of the themes of the Ballad of the Bullet was interjecting black nationalism into the Civil Rights Movement and radicalizing the Civil Rights Movement. Now, what is black liberation theology? Black liberation theology, or also known as black theology, refers to a theological perspective which originated among African-American seminarians and scholars, and in some African-American churches in the United States, and later in other parts of the world. It contextualizes Christianity in an attempt to help those of African descent overcome oppression, okay? Not using Christianity to justify their oppression, okay? So you have to understand the difference. You have to understand history and understand the difference. Black liberation theology is designed to contextualize Christianity in an attempt to help African Americans overcome oppression and fight against oppression, not make them complacent with their oppression. It especially focuses on the injustices committed against African Americans and African people in South Africa during segregation in the United States and apartheid in South Africa. Okay, and for more information, read Black Theology and Black Power, which came out in 1969. Now, black theology, or black liberation theology, seeks to liberate non-white people from multiple forms of political, social, economic, and religious subjugation, and views Christian theology as a theology of liberation. Okay, it views Christian theology as a theology of liberation, teaching you that you're not supposed to be oppressed. You're not supposed to be enslaved. It doesn't teach you to love your master or things like this, okay? And if you, there was, I think it was the Smithsonian's website, there was an article that came out maybe about 5 years ago that talked about a version of the Bible that was created, which was a slave Bible. Go research this. It was a slave Bible, and it had selected passages in this that was used to teach enslaved Africans and teach them that they were supposed to be enslaved. Okay. Okay. Now, a rational study. Okay, a rational study of the being of God in the world in light of the existential situation of an oppressed community, relating the forces of liberation to the essence of the gospel, which is Jesus Christ, or Yeshua, with the Y, Yeshua, writes James H. Cone, one of the original advocates of the perspective of black liberation theology. Now, black theology mixes Christianity with questions of civil rights, particularly raised by the Black Power movement and the Black consciousness movement. So the Black Power movement coming about right about 1966. We know it really comes out of the movement, comes out of SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinated Committee, which is founded in April of 1960. We know Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, he becomes chairman of SNCC in 1966, and in Mississippi during the March Against Fear, June 1966, he comes out of the jail and he drops the Black Power slogan, which was primed and on the ground. One of the people who really primed the Black Power slogan and helped create it was Mukasa Dada, who back then was known as Willie Ricks. I've interviewed Mukasa Dada, and he's told me the whole story about this. Okay, now read A Black Theology of Liberation, 40th Anniversary Edition 2010 by Dr. James H. Cone for more information on this. Go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Okay, there's a 10-week online history course called Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. I teach the class on Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our next classes are Saturday, March 9th, Saturday, March 16th, March 23rd, and March 30th. Okay, and then we have a few more classes after that. The class is on sale, $80, regularly $130. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch this anytime. So even after the course is over with, you can go back and watch the entire class, okay? And we instead of 10 sessions, we're going to do at least 11, possibly 12. The course outline, the lesson plans for all 10 classes